Good morning, everyone. The Delaware County Commissioner meeting for June 7th, 2018 is now in session. Would you stand, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, good morning. To my right is fellow Commissioner Vice President Barb Lewis. To my left is fellow Commissioner Jeff Benton. Our clerk today is Sarah DeNova, and our administrator is with us today, Mike Fromer. With that, let's begin.
Resolution number 18-651, in the matter of approving the electronic record of the proceeding from regular meeting held June 4th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 18-651. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We have no public or elected comment this morning. Resolution number 18-652, in the matter of approving purchase orders, then and now certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CMA PRs 0606.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Lewis, seconded by Commissioner Benton. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 18-652. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-653, in the matter of approving travel expense requests.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 18-653. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-654, in the matter of accepting and approving the Delaware County Sheriff's Office Transport Report for the month of April 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 18-654. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
With that, that brings us to, I think, Kathy Sturman. Are you going to be coming and speaking in behalf of, or is it going to be Lindsay Collins? Or both? Or flip a coin? Come up here, introduce yourself, and make whatever comments you want to make regarding the, what we're going to be talking about regarding Alzheimer's, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, perfect. I'm Lindsay Collins. Thanks for having me this morning. I'm the walk director here for the Delaware Walk to End Alzheimer's. June is Brain and Alzheimer's Awareness Month, so we came to you guys hoping to do the proclamation to declare 2018 for June to be Brain and Alzheimer's Awareness Month. We also have a walk here in town on August 11th. It's at Ohio Wesleyan University. It's a really awesome day filled with hope for those that are dealing with this journey currently, potentially have lost somebody to the disease, and a lot of people just coming out to support the cause. So we just wanted to let you guys know about the walk on August 11th. It's free to register and come and participate, so we'd love to have some more people in Delaware County come out. The support here in this county has been overwhelming the last year that I've been here with the association, and it steadily keeps growing. So we just wanted to let you guys know about the walk. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a resolution that you read, and I'll ask for the resolution in just a second. We lost our mother-in-law to Alzheimer's, and it's a very obviously very debilitating to the person that's suffering with it, but it's also very difficult for the family. And I think this is something that's close to my heart, and I don't know the experiences that my fellow commissioners have had. I don't know if you want to comment at this point.
Yeah, my grandmother passed away from Alzheimer's as well, complications from Alzheimer's, and it was very difficult for the whole family. I mean, and for her, clearly. So and again, I think most people have had a very direct personal experience with Alzheimer's, and we'd love to see progress made on it. And I know there has been some progress, but there's still very tough to deal with.
Yeah. I think too the importance of research and finding if not even a cure, but just any help to postpone the effects of the disease. I know that there's been some research actually done through those who have Down syndrome, and there's seems to be some connection there. So I think the good that you're doing and bringing it to our attention, and the importance of developing the research, putting the money towards the research, and so the families and those with the disease can be helped is so important. So thank you.
So, with that, let's read the resolution. and we'll pass the resolution, and then I'll read the proclamation.
Resolution number 18-655, in the matter of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners recognizing June 2018 as Brain and Alzheimer's Awareness Month and August 11th, 2018 as the Delaware Walk to End Alzheimer's Day.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. I think we've already made comment, so let's vote, and then I'll read the resolution.
Vote on motion 18-655. Mr. Merrill? Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Okay, the proclamation we just approved. Whereas June 2018 is Brain and Alzheimer's Awareness Month, recognizing a disease that affects 5.7 million Americans and 220,000 Ohioans, and whereas recognizing these events provide an opportunity to promote and join the global conversation about the brain and Alzheimer's disease as a public health crisis, and whereas with no known way to slow or prevent Alzheimer's disease, essential public health services of early detection, risk reduction, and surveillance are necessary to protect and improve the health at a population level. And whereas caregiving for individuals with Alzheimer's disease often takes an enormous toll on family members, caregivers themselves often suffer more stress, depression, and health problems than caregivers of people with other illnesses. And whereas the Alzheimer's Association is the largest nonprofit funder of Alzheimer's research and provides care and support to those living with the disease today with the help and support of its dedicated volunteers. And whereas the Delaware County Board of Commissioners recognizes the important role the Alzheimer's Association Central Ohio chapter plays in meeting the needs of people affected by Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia through family and clinical support, early detection and diagnosis of disease education, advocacy and research. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Delaware County Commissioners that the Delaware County Board of Commissioners recognize June 2018 as Brain and Alzheimer's Awareness Month and August 11, 2018 as the Delaware Walk to End Alzheimer's Day, signed by Commissioner Jeff Benton, Commissioner Barb Lewis, Commissioner Gary Merrill. And one other thing I'll add is, I talked about the effect it has on the family. We came to the point where she no longer recognized family members, and that was tough. And we lived 900 miles away, so it was a little tough for us. But we always had this belief that we'll get through this, and then we'll have an opportunity to spend some time with my father-in-law, her father. But it wore him out, and it actually took his life first. And so it's a terrible disease. With that, I think we'd like to get a photo, and if you'd join us up front.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Okay.
oh, good, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah,
Golf fundraiser
I'll give
for
this,
Alzheimer's.
I'll give this to Mark. I'll give this to you. Okay, with that, let's proceed.
Resolution number 18-656, in the matter of approving a software maintenance agreement between the Courtview Justice Solutions Incorporated, doing business as Equivent, the Board of Delaware County Commissioners, and the Delaware County Clerk of Courts Office for the case management system used by the Delaware County Clerk of Courts and Common Pleas Court.
So move.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion?
Good morning. I'm Natalie Fravel, Delaware County Clerk of Courts.
I'm Christopher Batts.
Assistant Prosecuting Attorney with the Delaware County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. Do you want me to go ahead?
Go ahead.
This is an agreement that's a software maintenance agreement. It's with Equivant. Equivant does business as Courtview. Courtview is the docketing system for the Delaware County courts. That's what the clerk of courts uses. It's what the common pleas court uses to track and docket all of the various documents and things that they receive over at the clerk of courts. They have been working with Courtview for a number of years. And we'll continue to do that. This is just a maintenance agreement for that software so that if there's a need for, any sort of maintenance on that this should cover it and this should address it.
Any questions or comments from the board? Vote?
Vote on motion 18-656. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
You're reluctant to call him Mr. Is there a reason for
I
that?
almost said Mrs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us to page 373. Resolution number 18-657, in the matter of authorizing the use of 2 procurement cards for the Delaware County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion?
Hi, Jared Zarillo with Delaware County Board of DD. These are 2 pro cards that we currently have, so we're not increasing our numbers. We had a director who left, and so one of those pro cards will be filling that position. And the other, we have an office assistant position that had a pro card. We're going to terminate that one and use one of these new ones for her position.
Any questions or comments? Vote?
Vote on motion 18-657. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution number 18-658, in the matter of approving the sanitary sewer improvement plans for the Heathers at Golf Village, Section 3, Phase A.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion?
Morning, Commissioners. Tiffany Mag with the Regional Sewer District. This is a development that's located off of Sawmill Road in between Home and Hyatt's. There's 20 lots in this part of the development, and we request your approval for this plan to be submitted for their PTI.
What are Y connections?
Y connections are the connection to the main line that comes out of, so that the homeowner can actually tie in with their lateral. So we stub the Ys out to the right-of-way, and then the homeowners are able to connect in with their own lateral that they would
So
own.
it's a lot level connection.
Yeah, right.
Why is it spelled W-Y-E instead of just the letter Y? Sounds like that's.
I don't know.
Okay,
Good question.
always curious.
We never learned that in engineering school. I don't know.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Vote?
Vote on motion 18-658. Mr. Merrill? Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-659, in the matter of approving the sanitary sewer subdividers agreement for the center at Powell Crossing and Shelley's Retreat at Carpenter's Mill Pump Station improvements.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion?
These are both standard subdividers agreements. The first one, the center at Powell Crossing, is a condo development that's located near downtown Powell. The second, Shelley's Retreat at Carpenter's Mill, is just for a pump station portion of that project. There will actually be a future subdividers agreement that will have the lots that are associated with that. So we request your approval for both.
Questions or comments? Vote?
Vote on motion 18-659. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill? Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-660, in the matter of accepting the sanitary sewer improvement for North Lake Summit 1-A.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion?
These sewers have been installed and have met all of our requirements. This is an apartment unit off of Four Winds Drive, which is just north of 3637 near the Outlet Mall.
Questions or comments? Vote?
Vote on motion 18-660. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-661, in the matter of certifying to the county auditor sanitary sewer capacity charges for 7327 Africa Road, Galena, Ohio, 43021.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion?
This homeowner has abandoned their septic tank and connected it into our sewer system, and they request that their capacity fees be certified on their taxes for a period of 10 years. So we request your approval for us to do that.
Questions or comments? I just have I've asked that Mike Fromer and the Health Department have a conversation on this very topic, and and basically, over time, hopefully there'll be an evaluation, there maybe some sort of opportunity or incentive that we could, people that are along the lines, make it a little more of a reward for them to transition. And Tiffany's involved in that project as well, so not today, but in a couple, 3, 4 months,
Yeah.
we may have an opportunity to have some conversation session on the
Yep.
practicality of that.
Yeah, and we actually just had a conversation yesterday with the consultant that's doing the work on the CDBG funding to try to figure out how we can do that to be able to help with some of the financing for, some of the people that would qualify for that. So we're kind of putting all that information together, and we're in the process of getting a letter that we would, of course, talk to the 3 of you about before we sent that out to kind of kick off that program. So it's in the works. It'll be a couple more weeks, but it's certainly moving forward.
And I know that Columbus has a grant program for their county. Since they depend so much on the water in our county, it might be appropriate that they could assist in that too. So I've asked that we look in that as well, see what possibility may or may not exist there. So with that, vote.
Vote on motion 18-661. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. I think the next thing on the agenda is a hearing, but we cannot start that until 10 o'clock. So let's move to administrative reports.
Hey, good morning, Commissioners. I really just have one thing. I wanted to kind of give a little bit of a shout out to, we have an employee in Human Resources that works on the benefits, Amanda Kraft. Her son, Zach Kraft, is a 3-time state champion. He was a 2-time cross-country champion from Buckeye Valley, and he just won the 1600 at the state meet in track. He got second in the 3200. The kid that won the 3200 didn't run the 1600, so came in fresh on that. And he is going to Notre Dame to run in the fall, which, if you know, getting into Notre Dame is, he must be an outstanding student because it's really hard to get into that school. So just kind of wanted to give a little sports shout out. I know it's not women's softball, but it is definitely with track. So.
It's equally interesting. In fact, my son ran track, so I enjoyed track. So take nothing away from track. Very good. Anything else?
That's it.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes, had an emergency management meeting the other day, and Sean Miller, head of our EMA, reported that they had a meeting with the, actually, and this director spoke, but he was the Nevada director of the EMA. He spoke specifically about the Las Vegas shooting and the money coming in afterwards to help those who were injured and families who lost loved ones there. But Brandon Feller, who is head of United Way, was also in part of this meeting, and Brandon has suggested that the money given, if there is any, when there is any type of disaster, that the money can also go through United Way, but they will waive any administrative fee, which is really important because some of the organizations that had helped collect money from the Las Vegas disaster also ended up with quite hefty administrative fees, especially when there are a lot of different donations coming in. So the administrative fee is collected on each one, and so we're trying to find a way to avoid that, so the money goes directly to
Well, and United Way
those affected.
is an organization we all know and trust.
Yes, exactly.
Sometimes you're not sure who you're donating
Exactly.
to when you have
And
interest to be supported.
That's
but you-
right. Yeah, so that was really, I thought, a huge plus. I'll follow through with that at our next United Way meeting too, so mention that. But that was really, it was a lot of money that should have been spent for families that didn't go to families. So we're benefiting from, what happened out there, and glad that the Nevada director came and informed us, so
Anything else?
that's it.
Mr. Benton?
Just a think it's a few things. Commissioner Merrill and I attended the Strand balcony rededication. There was a good crowd there, and I want to give a shout out to Jane, who was there as well, representing the board in her board.
And if you ever attended the old balcony,
Oh, yeah.
compared to the new balcony, there is no comparison.
Yeah, yeah. It was, yeah, it's just a huge improvement. I mean, it's really, what a great asset for the community. The Strand is now, I don't want to say completely renovated, but the major renovation projects are finished, and we almost lost the theater 10 years ago or somewhere in that time frame, and it's just been remarkable how everybody's. Oh, yeah, and Joni Brown, Pete Manis's daughter, a local attorney, was the really driving force behind it and made both significant financial as well as time commitments to make this happen, and they dedicated the balcony in her family's name, and very well deserved, and she's been, I think, president of the board for a number of years.
I was on the board for 5, 6 years, and she was president during that whole time, and the family's, she's dedicated a lot of time
Oh,
to
my,
this.
yeah.
And there's a plaque now at as you
Right.
get off the stairs on the third,
Right.
on the balcony level, that
Yeah,
honors the family.
it is. It's a nice, it really turned out very nice. So congratulations to everyone involved in that. And that really just helps the downtown that much more. Did have Dick Dawson, a local farmer, passed away over the last few days. Not sure. He was 94. And he
Do you have a
you know,
picture?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, thanks.
94 years old and just a really standout local farmer and ag, representing the ag community and involved in a lot of community activities and at the state level and national level and so on. So just a community
Oh, my
leader
goodness.
that we will miss. So I wanted to make sure that Dick's family recognizes that we appreciate, all that Dick has done for Delaware County and the ag community in particular. Let's see, went to the Old Tangi Rotary this morning. Russ Martin, our sheriff, received a vocational service award from them and did a great job of speaking and talking about the challenges of his profession and how, many police officers do such good work, and unfortunately the headlines are often negative just because the 1 or 2% that aren't good police officers do things that generate headlines. But, in particular, in light of yesterday's shooting in Delaware County, where there was a fatality, you feel for the officers, you feel for all the families involved. It's very traumatic, and it's just very unfortunate and sad that this happened. But I do want to make sure that we recognize the officers and all the families involved, that it was unfortunate. But so anyway, again, our sheriff's office does great things, and every once in a while they have a really tough day, like yesterday, and that's what his point was. They unfortunately have tough days. The last thing is the OSU Wexner Center was announced. It's going to be at Home Road and Sawmill Parkway, and that is going to be a huge asset for Delaware County. 500 jobs, $50 million payroll, I think a $200 million infrastructure, something in that range. And that's phase one. Phase two is another 200,000 square feet, 400 jobs, providing a broad array of healthcare services to that area of the community, and we certainly welcome them, and they will be a huge contributor to Delaware County and the quality of life and healthcare in our county. So I want to congratulate them and thank them. I'll also recognize Bob Lamb, I know has played a role in that. Mike's been involved. I don't know who else. I'm sure I'm forgetting people, whether the engineer's office was involved, Rob and Chris. Again, it's a team effort to get these things done. The Finance Authority has been involved and so on. So anyway, again, great success story for Delaware County, and we welcome OSU Wexner Center. That's all I got.
I have nothing to add that hasn't already been stated. We have about 4 minutes, so I'm going to, we'll take a 4-minute recess until 10 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, I'll talk to Eric
Yeah,
about it.
okay.
The name,
ready.
The Delaware County Commissioner meeting for June 7, 2018 is back in session. With that, could you read the resolution?
Yes. Resolution number 18-662, final hearing for the Fancher Road Watershed Drainage Improvement Petition Project.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 18-662. Mr. Bitton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Excuse me? Please just wait, okay? We're opening,
We're
we're
opening
opening the
session.
meeting, we're not closing
We
the
haven't
meeting.
opened it yet. Yeah.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-663, in the matter of approving for a specific occurrence a suspension of Rule 3 speaker registration, Rule 4 limitations, and Rule 7 public comment procedure from the rules governing the public comment before the before the Board of County Commissioners of Delaware County, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 18-663. Mr. Merrill? Mr. Bitton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
The hearing is now open. Okay, so I'm going to read the rules of, that we will comply with or work from today. And this is the hearing, a final hearing by the Commission for the Fancher Road Watershed Drainage Improvement Petition Project. Welcome to the hearing today. There's a sign-in sheet that's circulating around the room, so if you've not signed it, I'd ask that you please sign it. We will hear a summary of the report from the county engineer and Soil and Water Conservation District on the project. Copies of the full report are available. At that point, questions from the board, if there are any. We'll hear from all those in favor of the petition. We'll hear from all those opposed to the petition. And during testimony, you'll be asked to take an oath. And we'll continue back and forth if new information comes up or additional people wish to speak. We just ask that we don't be redundant. That serves no purpose other than to extend the meeting. Again, then we'll take questions from the board. After listening to the testimony and the report of the engineer, the board will decide whether to find in favor of the improvements, affirming the order and confirming the maintenance assessments, or the board may set aside the order, granting the petition and dismiss. The board considers the following in their decision: whether the board hereby finds that the proposed improvements are necessary, that it will be conducive to the public welfare, that the board also finds that it is reasonably certain that the cost of the proposed improvements will be less than the benefits that will be received from the improvements. With that, we will ask, I believe Soil and Water will be, I'll ask representative from Soil and Water to come forward and introduce himself and read the report.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brett Bacon, Delaware Soil and Water Conservation District. We are going to read the full report into the record this morning. This report has been prepared for the final hearing on a drainage improvement petition filed by Dolores Clamforth and others on October 16, 2015. The general location and course of the requested improvements is stated in the petition as follows. In Delaware County, Harlem Township, within the Fancher Road watershed, and generally following, but not limited to, the course and termini of the existing watershed, commencing with the culverts under Fancher Road, commencing on parcel 3163-4003-014000. The following is the nature of the work petitioned: to generally improve the drainage, both surface and subsurface, to a good and sufficient outlet by replacing, repairing, or altering the existing improvements as required and/or creating new surface and subsurface drainage mains or laterals as requested by this petition. Petition process. This petition has been submitted according to Ohio Revised Code, Section 6131, which authorizes the Board of County Commissioners to act on behalf of benefited property owners to make drainage improvements. If the Commissioners decide to proceed with the project, the costs related to the improvements are collected via special assessment to the landowners in the watershed according to the benefit received. The construction assessments will be placed on the property tax bills of the benefited landowners and can be spread over a maximum of 8 years with 16 semi-annual installments, depending on the method of payment chosen by the Commissioners. Additionally, the improvements will be placed on the County Drainage Maintenance Program per Ohio Revised Code, Section 6137, with maintenance funds being collected semi-annually similar to the original construction costs. These annual maintenance assessments are generally 2 to 3% of the construction assessment. It should be noted that property owners are only assessed for those improvements that are located downstream from their properties. No property is assessed for improvements located upstream of a given parcel. In addition, units of government that hold rights of way for public roads would also be assessed for both construction and maintenance costs in the same manner as private property owners. The decision to approve a petition is a three-step process involving a viewing, an initial or first hearing, and a second or final hearing. A viewing of the proposed improvements was conducted on January 11th, 2016 by the commissioners to familiarize themselves with the location and condition of the existing improvements. Next, the first hearing was held on February 25th, 2016. At this first hearing, the commissioners found in favor of the petition. They requested the Delaware County Engineer and the Delaware Soil and Water Conservation District to proceed in the development of engineering plans and specifications and the schedule of assessments. It is this information that is before the Board of Commissioners for consideration at this second and final hearing. Project scope. The work is proposed to commence at the south right-of-way for Fancher Road on the Stewart property and terminate on the Trotter property at the Delaware-Franklin County line. The primary work items proposed are the replacement of the existing subsurface drainage lines, surface grading improvements, and the installation of private driveway culverts. All disturbed areas will be returned to their pre-construction condition or seeded and mulched. Project estimate. Construction, $57,751.75. Administration, planning, and inspection, $13,390.18. Drainage maintenance startup, 5%, $3,132.10. Contingency, 20%, $14,654.81. Total estimated cost, $88,928.84. Calculation of assessments. The Ohio Revised Code instructs the county engineer to calculate the assessments to individual property owners based on the benefits received from the improvements for the various properties in the watershed. The ORC further defines benefited land as, quote, lands that have been removed from their natural state by deforestation, cultivation, artificial drainage, urban development, or other man-made causes shall be considered as benefited by an improvement required to dispose of the accelerated flow of water from the uplands. Assessments to individual parcels have been calculated using the following formula, a rationale that is widely used throughout the state of Ohio. Acres benefited times land use factor times the percent of improvement used times remote factor equals the individual parcel assessment factor. Each parcel's assessment is then determined by the individual parcel assessment factor divided by the total of all individual assessment factors times the total construction cost equals the parcel assessment. Explanation of factors. Acres benefited. Total number of acres within a given parcel that contribute drainage to the improvement. Land use factor. The relative benefit to parcels of drainage based on the amount of increased stormwater runoff resulting from the land use of the parcel. Percent of improvement used. The point at which drainage from a given parcel enters the improvement. Parcels are only assessed for the portion of the improvement that lies downstream of the parcel. Remote factor. The remote factors are based on a parcel's distance from the improved section of the drainage course and is typically established in half-mile increments. Parcels that are most remote from the actual improvement receive the greatest reduction on their assessment. No remote factor has been applied for this project. Benefits versus cost. One of the primary factors set forth in ORC Section 6131 for consideration in the approval or dismissal of a petition request is the actual benefit of the proposed improvements to the watershed in question. The following analysis examines this factor from the standpoint of the value of drainage to residential parcels. The value of drainage to residential parcels commonly centers on improved on-site drainage and road or driveway drainage. Neighborhoods that have planned and maintained drainage infrastructures generally have higher resale values than those communities that are known to have a history of drainage problems or prolonged surface ponding. Approximately 31.695 acres, or 82.5% of the land use in the watershed, is currently residential in nature. When evaluating the cost of providing adequate drainage outlets for residential properties, we find that for new construction, developers or home builders spend $1,000 to $3,000 on average per lot to attain adequate drainage infrastructure. With 20 residential parcels in the watershed, the potential average benefit is $20,000 to $60,000. While this analysis does not take into account many potential variables, it could aid in the decision-making process. The benefits to this proposed project will be realized well beyond the construction repayment term. As previously stated, the construction assessments will be placed on the property tax bills of the benefited landowners and can be spread over a maximum of 8 years depending on the method of payment chosen by the commissioners. Alternatively, assessments can be paid in full within 30 days after the close of the final hearing without paying interest. The long-term benefits will be realized by the virtue of this proposed project being placed on the county drainage maintenance program in perpetuity per Ohio Revised Code Section 6137. ORC 6137 requires maintenance funds to be collected semi-annually, similar to the construction costs. These maintenance funds are applied to the annual inspection and maintenance of this specific project. Recommendations. Based on all of the information gathered and generated, I believe this project, as proposed, is technically feasible and would serve as an adequate outlet for the drainage needs of the watershed. Furthermore, the parcel assessments for this project are within the range of assessments that can be expected for a project of this scope. The testimony brought to the Board of Commissioners by the landowners as to whether the benefits of this project exceed the costs should be given significant consideration in the decision to move forward with this project. A resolution affirming the order to proceed detailing the approved areas of work, confirming the schedule of assessments, and ordering the project to be advertised for competitive bid per Section 6131 of the ORC will be necessary. The resolution by the Board of Commissioners shall also determine how long a period of time in semi-annual installments as taxes are paid shall be given the owners of land benefited to pay the construction assessments. If the Board of Commissioners chooses to dismiss the petition in whole or in any part, I would recommend a resolution reflecting that decision and that the costs for the proceedings, including the costs incurred by the Board of Commissioners, the county engineer, and the Delaware Soil and Water Conservation District in making surveys, plans, reports, and schedules be distributed to the benefiting landowners in the same ratio as determined in the final estimated assessments presented at this hearing. This amount is estimated at $6,900.
Okay, thank you, Brad. Is there any questions from the board at this point? No. With that, then we'll move to hearing from those who are speaking in favor of the petition. And I will swear you in when you come up. And I would ask three things of you. You give your name clearly so we can understand it, your address, and if you're able to, maybe identify by number where you're located, because I do think that helps the commissioners as we try to appreciate and understand how it affects you personally. So with that, is there anyone here who would like to speak in favor of the petition? If you give me your name, your address, and the number if you're able to do so, then I'll swear you in.
Pam Steele, 12066 Fancher, and I am Lot 5.
Okay, let me write that down just so I'll have it. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Proceed.
I think I'm more in favor of a resolution than the petition, because it seems like it's expensive for all of us when there's a couple different things that could actually be done instead of charging all of us money that we don't really have. On Lot 3, that's directly across from us, there was I guess a 300-year-old tree. 3 years ago when it was cut down, it was literally 1.5 feet from the road. There was no ditch. There is a ditch in front of our house. So right where 12 is, between 12 and 3, there is actually standing water at all times because there's no ditch on that side of the road. If there was a true ditch on that side, it would actually eliminate probably about 80 to 90% of the problem.
Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brad, did you want to comment about the ditch or no ditch, just so I was fresh on our minds?
Brett Bergerford, Delaware County Engineers Office. We did evaluate that. We had received, I think I spoke with you, Ms. Seal, 6 months or so ago, a year ago. Time flies, I apologize. But we did talk about the tree coming out. As part of our evaluation after the first hearing, we did go out there in regards to the survey And the watershed, by installing a ditch, you'd be breaking watershed and running it in that direction. So the roadway ditch does drain as depicted within the watershed map. But we did evaluate the condition of the road ditches out there.
So make sure I understand. So
Yeah.
you're saying the ditch would affect the way the water's supposed to flow?
More or less, I entertained the idea of can a ditch be cut in as suggested, but we would be breaking watershed, and that would be taking the roadway ditch out of the watershed, and it wouldn't be providing an overall solution to the drainage matters that were called out within the petition.
You mean breaking the watershed?
We'd be taking it out of the yellow area is the watershed, and it would be taken into a different watershed, essentially, yes.
And that's not a good idea,
Correct.
because
Based upon how drainage is managed and the laws governing that, we have to contain it within the watershed itself essentially as it's naturally occurring.
I'm a layman's summary. I guess if you divert it, then it affects another watershed.
Correct.
and
You're
could
pushing the
affect-
problem
could
on
affect it
somebody else who
negatively.
didn't have the problem before. Keep the water within the watershed. That's why we have the culvert in that location as shown on the map there, because that's the way the water is always drained.
Any questions, additional questions? It looks like Brad has something to add.
Brett, other Brett.
Yeah.
The tree in question was at the top end of the watershed. Basically, water breaks both directions from where the tree was, as I understand things, which would be why there's no ditch there. It flows off, and the ditches actually get deeper as you go further to each side, so.
Away from where the tree was.
Correct.
So at the top of the area, there's very little water flow.
It's the top of the hill, yeah.
Think of it as the top of the roof, at the peak of the roof is the yellow line.
I got you. Okay. Well, when I saw 3, I thought, that's a long ways from you, but okay, so lot 9, I'm trying to, where's 9? Okay, I see it now.
Okay, that is right on the edge of the watershed.
And it was literally, I kid you not, it was probably a foot.
If you're going to speak, you need to come up here, just so, if you want to speak, you're good at speaking, but you just come up here to do it.
We're recording it.
It's being recorded, and so,
Yeah.
okay. So it's not a reprimand, that's just so everybody can hear it and be for the record. So who else would like to speak in favor of the petition?
My name is Dolores Clanford. I'm 12110 Fancher Road, Westerville, 43082. I guess I'm the one that put the petition,
Can you identify a lot up there that represents?
well, I think it's really hard to tell because you don't have the lot. My lot number is 6. 19 now?
19?
Okay, 19. Yeah, thank.
Okay, Dolores, I need to swear you in. So you raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Proceed.
You know, I don't have a lot of suggestion as far as something different. I just know that can't continue with this water that is constantly flooding my whole side and backyard. I have pictures of it, and you can see that the water is just not even a heavy rain. We still get the water. And I still stand behind the petition that this needs to be done. I have pictures. I get mud and water even in my basement. And it's got to stop. If I wanted to sell my house, there wasn't any way I'd ever be able to sell the house in the water line the way they have it now. It's just, as I said, I have pictures if you'd like to see.
Sure, if you want to bring them forward. Now, you're prepared to leave these with us?
copy them.
Or we can copy.
We'll copy them.
This is from, you can see from my deck.
And could you go back to the mic? Could you give us the photos and go back to the mic and speak about them so they'll be on the record? Okay.
You can see the pictures of, it's like from up at my deck, and it's looking in the back and at the two neighbors beside me who also have bad water problems. The one neighbor's whole front yard is always flooded. It's still wet. My side yard is still standing water, which isn't good. Mosquitoes and just all kinds of vermins. But I still have standing water in my side yard. I have a ditch that my husband put in several years ago that will take the water, but it's never that small amount anymore. It just seems like that it just floods the whole backyard and the side yards. And it just goes over and it comes down the road and goes in the basement and the mud and the water. It's bad. It really, and it's gotten worse. I don't know why, but it seems like that when they tiled across the road, it was farmland, and they tiled that farmland for drainage. That's when the water started running across the road, and they put those big culverts in, and a big tile in, and we just started flooding.
How long have you lived there?
Since 1964.
Lord, how long does the water tend
Pardon?
to stay? The water, there's a lot of water here. How long does it tend to sit in your backyard? For weeks, days?
No, it's still there, some of it. How long ago did it rain? It wasn't really that hard of a rain. It sets. It does set, especially on the side yard. It's just, maybe it's just wet there all the time almost anymore. And as you can see, when it's just a normal rain, it just blows up and floods all of us right through there. And you can see the pictures, as I said, that I took from my deck of how far it comes up to my house. And it's not fun.
When did you take these pictures?
I probably took those pictures that were in my folder, and I just grabbed my folder. I just come up from Florida. I just grabbed my folder. They probably were back in 15 maybe.
Oh,
And they're still the same thing now.
they do have a date on the pictures.
Yeah.
Some of them are
Yeah, they're older. I just quit taking pictures. I had so many of them, and nothing seemed to be doing anything.
Well, it's not a recent problem. It's been back to 2011, so.
Yeah, it could have been. You can see how long we've had the problem. And we've had the problem.
Thank you.
Pam, I saw you raise your hand. If you'd like to speak,
Some of her pictures are actually in the pictures that I turned in back in August.
well, we'll get copies of these and give you back the originals, but we would, for the records, since it's part of the hearing today, we do need to make copies of them. Okay? Okay. Any other questions from the board at this time? Anyone else who'd like to speak in favor of the petition? Okay. With that, we will transition to those who are opposed to the petition. Is there anyone here who would like to speak in opposition to the petition?
Hi, I'm Jackie Stewart. 12150 Thatcher Road, and that's Westerville, 43082.
And you identify, whoops, not there any longer.
I think it's
Yeah.
number 4.
We're fixing
Okay.
it. Jen, you have to switch you.
We'll ask that you identify it when it's back on the screen.
Okay.
May I swear you in?
Well, we're the first,
Swear you in.
oh, I'm
Raise your
sorry.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth,
I do,
the whole truth,
I do,
and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Proceed.
Okay. I wrote all of my notes down, so it's going to take me a few minutes. First of all, I want to know, how is a watershed determined? Because when this first came about 2016, we received a map, and the watershed was 57 acres.
Sure.
So you're not distracted, and we're not distracted. Let's wait till we get the
Okay.
back up there, because that's not fair to you or to Sarah for that matter, right, Sarah? And they're all looking at you.
Yeah, she's trying to find somebody.
Need help?
Jennifer
Sarah,
walked out.
she's on
I
the
assume
phone.
she's,
She's trying to find somebody. Side of the rescue.
So are we waiting for someone?
Wait for the IT guy.
Okay, are you comfortable proceeding without the, forget that. Now, everybody's going to be staring at you.
Did the first lady change her lot number?
She changed the lot number for the one where the tree was. From
Oh,
13
just where
to
the
9,
tree
I believe,
was,
yeah.
okay. Okay,
She was lot 5.
she's still 5, okay. All right,
That's my understanding.
yeah, okay. We're gonna have to, does anybody have lunch plate?
oh, no, she's flexible. Yeah.
I have more too.
So if you, like,
See
if
where
you
we are.
meet your mom later?
Yeah, yeah, my mom's
So it's
flexible.
not any, okay, great. And I'm fine with whatever.
Oh, I did find out why a Y connection is WYE.
Oh,
You know that sitting here?
Yeah, well, Brett, I think, came and told me, said it was because, no, Side came and told me it was because that's how they would spell the letter Y, is WYE. It's a Y-shaped connection. And they would spell the letter Y, WYE. So
English or something?
apparently,
Yeah.
so we know something Tiffany doesn't know.
Yeah.
So we're like engineers now.
You know what? I mean, we have these things, so we know,
But they,
yeah.
It is helpful.
it's helpful for me to know where they're
No.
speaking from.
Sure, sure.
Uh-huh, there we go.
There we are.
Okay. Jackie, first of all, our apologies.
Yes.
And start wherever you feel comfortable. I don't think we're really very far into your comments anyway, but go ahead.
Okay, well, my lot is lot number 4.
4,
We're the beginning of
okay.
this. And, let's see here. Okay, what I was asking was how is watershed determined? Because back in 2016, we received a map. It had 57 acres. Now we received another map, it's down, and it cost, at that time, the estimated cost was almost $65,000. Now, the watershed is down to approximately 33.262 acres, and the price went up to $88,928, $84. That's a difference of $24,335.24, and a difference of 23 acres. Now, how can that be? A watershed's a watershed. How can that change?
Okay, well, I'm going to let them answer that, but again, the layman's answer, first of all, the cost is an estimate from the first hearing, and so that's a best guess. And number two, I can't answer the watershed question, but I'm guessing that's somewhat uncertain until you do your surveys, but go ahead.
No, you're fine, you're fine. The watershed for the first hearing is determined purely based on an automated tool that we use in our GIS system, and it uses remote sense data to determine that watershed line. Prior to the commissioners accepting the petition at that first hearing, we have very limited authority to enter the properties to do any field verification of that watershed. As part of the survey, engineering, and design process, that watershed is ground truthed and field verified, and so it's not uncommon for the watershed line to change as part of the design process. And the area that Mrs. Stewart is referring to, we did redraw the watershed, removing approximately about a 20-acre area of the watershed as part of the design process, because we determined that the water from that portion of the original watershed does not enter this improvement. Therefore, those acres, that area, should not be assessed as part of this project, nor factored into the engineering design of the project.
It'd be unfair to that owner to be included in a watershed which they're not contributing.
That's correct. That area does not utilize the proposed
Just
improvement.
for our edification, where was that 20 acres located? If you could just point at it, just so we know.
It would have been, Scott, help. I can't, I'm partially colorblind. I have trouble seeing the dot.
It would have been in this, kind of this area here. You have a copy of the older map. There's another drainage course that the remote sensor just didn't pick up that drains kind of off kind of more subtly than to the west.
Our automated tool struggles with areas that are in woods, railroads, and I-71. So it's not a surprise to me that there was some error in that from the remote sense data.
Typically, the area would be that large, or is that unusual? The error.
That's a little bit larger than what we would like to see. But like I say, it's a very flat area. So the break is very subtle, and the trees just kind of tend to give us false data sometimes.
Jack, can't believe it is. Jack, did that answer your question?
Not really, because that cut my whole backyard off, and we have a problem back there too. So no, that did not help me.
I'm not sure I follow it cuts your backyard off and you have a problem. So you have a flooding issue as well?
We've got water in the backyard, water in the front yard. Our house happens to sit on a piece of dry land. That's it.
But you're opposed to the petition?
Pardon?
I'm just trying to understand. You're opposed to the petition?
Oh, I'm definitely opposed.
But you have water on your property that affects?
Yes.
Okay.
First of all, we can't afford it. This is way, way too much. Second of all, I feel like it is Delaware County's fault that this has happened. With those 3 big culverts in my front yard, in his front yard, this brings water in, and it is not what we were first told, a once every 10 or 20 years thing. It is every time it rains. And I mean, it is flooded. You probably have pictures that.
Ed?
So, but anyway, I am opposed to it because if it's not Delaware County's fault, then I hate to say this, we've got a neighbor on the other side of her, lot number 14, yes. It's all grown up, roots, brush, trees. The water stops at her property. It can't go anywhere. So her yard stays wet, my yard stays wet, and Dee's stays wet, Clamford. I mean, there are 3 properties that the stays, we can't mow. I mow maybe once a year to get the whole thing. And this is my front yard I'm talking about, and I don't like it. But I still think that Delaware County did this. I know they didn't do it on purpose, but, I mean, and nobody has a record of this being done. Why is that? They can't find where those 3 pipes came from. And also,
I don't know what pipes you're talking about.
the
but-
culvert underneath
Okay,
Fancher
the
Road.
culvert, Okay.
You know, can you add some?
Why do we have,
Yeah.
I think Brad wants to provide some clarification.
I think Scott is the one. Gary,
Okay,
who's
Scott,
doing
sorry.
this.
I'll try to provide a little
Yeah,
Okay.
clarity. I'll take a stab here.
Yeah.
All right, Scott.
Introduce yourself since you're not. been
Yes,
up here
yes.
before.
Scott Stevens, currently the district administrator at the Conservation District. When this petition would have been filed, I would have been one of the field technicians, lead field technician, would have had the initial contact with Mrs. Stewart and the other neighbors about their project here. I think that we'll start up at the top end, the culverts that they're referring to, or the road culverts at Fancher Road. There were always a set of culverts there, or some conveyance under the road. At some point, is that a county road? It's a county road. The existing structure there, the existing culvert, deteriorated condition. It was time for new culverts. Under current engineering, I think that there was a pipe added there's 2 pipes. So the old culvert was, there was old cast iron pipe. I don't know that there was any engineering involved when that culvert would have went under Fancher Road. Most of the old ones, it would have been limited. Under current road standards, that culvert would have been engineered, would have been sized, that culvert grew. The watershed is unchanged. The amount of water, whether it's flowing through 1 pipe or 2 pipes, is unchanged. The watershed to the north is, the acreage is as it has always been. So hopefully that addresses the culvert issue or concern, or what the history is there.
Where was the culvert?
At the top end, right here, where the course of the project would end or begin, however you want to look at it. They're under Fancher Road in Mr. and Mrs. Stewart's front yard, essentially. And then the water, all this acreage on parcels 12, 21, 22, 1, 10, and 11 would all collect, and Brett helped me out with an acreage of what percentage of the acreage or the total, would all collect and run through this set of culverts and kind of enter the drainage course as it moves through Mrs. Stewart, Mr. and Mrs. Stewart's, Mrs. Clamfos, Mrs. Steele's, and then moving on downstream to the county line. There's a pretty good sized channel there at that point. So.
Okay, Mrs. Stewart made a comment about below number 5. I think she may have said 14 and 16, that there is a brush or trees or stuff blocking the path of the water.
Yes.
And she's saying that's the problem. Do you want to comment on that?
It is certainly contributory, no doubt about it. As you leave parcel 14 and into parcel 5, and certainly into parcel 14, the drainage corridor becomes brushy, wooded. The old clay tile that's in there I think it's an 8-inch old clay. It is not working hardly at all. There's very little surface grade or shape for the channel. It's just a old deteriorated rural agricultural drainage system that's now in a rural development, or I don't want to call it a subdivision. That's probably not fair, but a suburban rural residential neighborhood at this point, and it's done.
So if the brush were cleared away, would you still have the problem?
No, the tile needs to be replaced. There's shaping and grading. It's beyond, you got to clear the brush to get the sediment or clear the debris to create a channel, a drainage way, as we you typically see.
But you're saying because the tile's bad underneath that it still wouldn't?
That's part of it.
Cure the
That's some percentage of the problem, absolutely. Good drainage, you have to have both. You have to have good, when you get those heavy rains, water's coming through the culverts, rain on frozen snow-covered ground, ground saturated, that's surface drainage. That's culverts under the road, culverts under driveways, good shape and grade to the surface of the land. The subsurface drainage comes kind of in after that. The soil saturated, the surface water's done flowing. The soil's saturated, your sump pumps, curtain drains, collector tile systems for the rural sewage treatment systems are all connected into that tile. It's the tail end of the storm, we'll say, that's soaked into the ground and goes out through the tile. They work hand in hand. You have to address both to provide the highest degree, the best drainage that you could expect in that rural suburban setting.
From the chair I'm sitting in, I believe Scott answered the questions that you stated. Now, you may not like the answers, but I think there was an effort made to answer the question. Were there other?
I've got some
Okay,
more.
that's what I'm
As
asking.
for there being more than one pipe going under that road, Fancher Road, there was one, I don't know what size, but it's about the same size as one in their driveway. Now, they put those 3 big pipes in and didn't bother their driveway. So those 3 pipes they have washed, I bet you, 6 inches of our soil away because our driveway now sits up higher than our yard. And the water is lower than the pipe now. So the pipe doesn't do a very good job at all. Our
So
driveway
your driveway
washes-
becomes like a dam blocking the water?
Yeah, well, and it just runs over and washes our driveway away. So anyway, second of all, I don't think that our neighbors should be responsible for paying such a price. I mean, they're new neighbors. I think that's terrible to hit them with. I mean, $10,000, $11,000, $12,000, a lot. Ours is almost $7,800. And then it goes down from there. And where most of the work is going to be done is from that property I mentioned, lot 14, I think, on, as you can see. We're hardly going to get anything done. And what they said they was going to do is just grade it, put the subsurface tile in, and fix the driveway. That's about it. I don't see that needs to be $90,000. And, okay, the only properties that will be benefited, hers, mine. 3 properties. At that price, no. I don't think neighbors ought to have to pay that. None of them.
Okay, do you have any other comments?
Just a second.
Okay, sorry. You paused, I thought you were maybe waiting for us to say something. So.
No, I'm reading my notes here. I did my homework. Okay, and someone mentioned the mosquitoes.
I'm sorry?
That what?
The mosquitoes,
Uh-huh.
the water standing, it is stagnant. It has algae growing on top of it, the green algae. And mosquitoes day, night, anytime, mosquitoes is buzzing everywhere. Now, by fixing the front yard, that part of the watershed, that's not going to help. My backyard's underwater. I think part of yours is, and I know hers is. So that's not going to fix it. And also, the ditch on the other side of the road was mentioned by her. There was a ditch there. I have lived there for over 40 years. When we moved there was a deep ditch. Water went both ways on Fancher Road. There was a creek up towards 605. There's a creek on down by Miller Hall. And water flowed pretty well. Well, Delaware County, Harlem Township, whatever, they didn't do their job of keeping that ditch maintained. So it grew up, plus stupid people throwing pop cans and all this stuff out in the ditch. They let it grow up. Those 2 big oak trees, one on each end, they fell down, rotted. We had to have one cut down. And the roots just took over the ditch. Nobody maintained that. If they had maintained that ditch, we wouldn't be having this problem. But that ditch, with all those roots in it, and now thrown up, full of brush. So right there is a lot of her problem. Was it coming over and going, down her driveway? Yeah. And just a second. Oh, okay, and one of the things in the petition, I'm sorry I'm taking so long, but I'll give my homework, was when we first started this process, we got a letter, or, papers gave out at the meeting, that said, that the flow of water could not be altered. But on the drainage law petition procedure, the first page, it says, the location, construction, reconstruction, reconditioning, widening, deepening, straightening, alternating or altering, boxing, tiling, filling, walling, arching, or any change in the course, location, or terminus of any ditch, drain, water course, or floodway. Okay, why can't it be altered? Why can't they go back to the ditch? I mean, everybody keeps saying there wasn't a ditch there. She knows there was a ditch there. She's lived there longer than me.
Okay, you're fine. If you want to comment, you've got to come up here, but, okay. Anything else?
Well, I think the cost far exceeds the benefits, and we cannot afford it, so I vote no. And I'm not allowed to say anything else. If I go back and look at my notes.
I promise you, if you have something else to add later, you raise your hand and we'll call on you. Fair?
Okay.
Thank you, Jackie. Brad, I think you have something to add. There was a couple of points. One that Jackie mentioned. I'm sorry, Ms. Stewart. Is that your last name? I'm sorry, Ms. Stewart. Mentioned about this isn't going to solve the standing water, and it'll still have a mosquito issue. My assumption would be that if you get the water moving, it will eliminate the standing water, and you won't have the issue.
Yes, that's correct. The project has been designed, or the engineering plans have been prepared according to the standards of the Natural Resources Conservation Service and the Ohio Department of Transportation, which is what we design all projects of this type to, and we believe that the solution presented would serve as the adequate drainage outlet requested by the petition.
You came up to speak on another topic. I asked you a question.
Yes, the point about the paragraph from the literature that they would have received as far as the drainage petition process, as far as altering the course or changing the location of the water course, that would be within the watershed that the water course is located in. There is, we do not have the ability to take that water outside of its intended course. So we can change the location or add new courses or laterals as needed within the watershed boundary, but we are not permitted to deviate from the watershed boundary.
Mr. Benton, do you have anything? Mr. Lewis?
No.
Okay, with that, we'll move on. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak in opposition? The one who got onto me a while ago.
I got over anxious, I'm sorry.
I don't hold a grudge.
My name's Janie Harris.
Janie Harris?
Janie Harris,
Janie
yes.
Harris.
And I'm lot number 18.
Okay.
Do you need my address?
And I got to swear you in. Yeah, we need your address.
12180 Fancher Road, Westerville.
And if you'll raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Proceed.
Okay, now I can go. Okay, I just want to start about the ditch. I've lived there also 40 years, and there was a ditch on the north side. I mean, there was a great big ditch, and I know because I used to have to jump over it to get over there because they had milkweeds, and
You said a great big ditch. You're not very big. Are you a good jumper, or?
I am a pretty good jumper
Okay.
because I would have to jump. Yes, it was
Okay.
it was a wide ditch. So anyway, the previous fix by the engineers with these 3 culverts, which I took the picture of, which you guys have up there, that is what has caused most of the problem. And now my concern is that caused the problem, so the fix they do, how do we know this is going to solve the problem? Because it didn't before, it didn't, so, you know, is this going to be worse? Also, I'm number 18, and number 3 is the Josephs. They're not here today. But we had a water problem, and what we did with Josephs and us, we took and dug a trench all the way down. We have a pond in the back. So we are not affected by this at all because our water goes straight to the pond in the back. I know you can't even see the pond on there, but there it's a pond. It's a big pond. I mean, it's, do you have a point? Can you see the pond? No. It's right there. There we go. Sorry.
That'd be in a different watershed, correct?
Okay, but my concern is the fact that we took care of our water problem. I don't understand why the county would have to come on private property to fix a problem that should be done by the private property people. I mean, I just think they should be able to take care of their own problem. They're talking about this one where they don't mow their grass. I know her husband died, okay, and how is that my problem? I mean, if my husband died, I would definitely take care of because I do all the mowing anyway. But, you know, I would take care of the problem. This is my private property. I don't want you to come. If I would be them, I'd say, no, you're not coming on my property. I'm going to fix this. I mean, this is my problem. I will fix it. But anyway, we have our own retention. We dug the trench. We put a pipe in. The water all now flows right back to our pond. So we have that. Also, while I'm talking about that, those 3 properties up there, it doesn't show that they now have houses up there. Property number, what's that one in the middle? It's Yang's number. He has 3 ponds. 2 ponds. He has 1. Is that number 1? Okay. He has 2 ponds that he dug. So they're over across the street. It's not farmland anymore. There's houses there. There's 3 nice big houses there. And they planted grass, and it's taking care of the problem. If they would just go through and dig out the ditch, one of the properties going down that way has put in a driveway without a culvert underneath. And to me, it's on the north side of Fancher Road. I mean, we're on the south side, okay? So, okay. This fix will do nothing for us. I'm on lot 18. The only people that it will affect, and Jackie referred to that, is actually 4, 5, and 19. And I think that's about all I have. I just think they should dig out the ditch, and that would cause, I mean, that, and I know, are you all engineers here? Are you all saying, no, she don't know what she's talking about. But, you know, if you would just dig out the ditch.
Speak to the
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If they would just dig out the ditch, I think that would take care of the problem on the other side. You know, it has kind of growed up a little bit, the water flow. And by them putting in those 3 big culverts, that's really was the problem. And again, if these properties, 4, 5, and 19, and the one further down, would just take care of their own, maybe put in pipe or whatever. We did it. I mean, why should we be punished? We took care of our problem. And I'm being punished with $4,600. So.
I've been several hearings, so I'm going to say what I think they will say, and they can correct me if I'm wrong. Everybody who contributes water to anyone downstream from you is partly your water, so you do have a responsibility. If you're at the top of the watershed, obviously the water's flowing down, and you probably don't have the same issue that's experienced by somebody else. Now, that's my layman's perspective. Is that fairly accurate? So so it's everybody's problem that's in the watershed, even if it's not your water.
Okay, and then I would like to know, too, they said where is the other watershed they're talking about? She said they didn't want to change anything because there's another watershed. Where is it? Is it to the right or to the left? You talked about a watershed.
It would be well, it's this area in here primarily. There's another, and the topo lines aren't on the map to kind of define that, but there is another drainage course that will be similar to this one that lies just to the east. It is very flat in this area. I mean, the topo lines, the break, the lay of the land is very subtle from where the high spot is as compared to where the low spot would be. There's another drainage course in here that drains to the south.
Scott, I can point out where kind of trace it, as long as I can see the dot.
Yeah.
Bryce, we'll turn that off, I can see it a little bit better. Okay, so the water would come kind of down like following my pointer. You see this dark spot here, and it would come down and enter.
To the creek.
Yeah, right here. So, our original data, the original map, we assumed that was all coming into this drainage course, but it does not. In our field verification, it comes down and enters the creek about right here.
So can I ask you a question? That there's yellow, black, and are you going to just put like, what are you putting there?
The project construction would consist of a constructed surface grade that through parcels 4, 15, and 5 would have the capacity to handle a 100-year storm. And then there would be an associated subsurface drain tiles installed both right and left side of that surface drain.
So you're going to like dig a ditch and put something on the side,
There'll be tile on the side.
but you're going to dig a ditch?
It'll be more like a grass waterway. It'd be something that the landowners could mow across, not an open ditch.
It's kind of like a,
Yeah, kind of a slight, but basically we're trying to create even grade so that the water can flow downhill
and so
as it would be determined.
You're talking about one that they said has all the grass and all that stuff.
Well, that's where it would be constructed from the flow line of the culverts under Fancher Road on the Stewart property, all the way down to the junction with the creek or basically the county line on parcel 17.
And
Do you have anything else to add?
I just want to reiterate the fact that those 3 parcels across the road, that used to be farmland, now it's houses. And they're, like I said, the one guy has put in 2 ponds and they planted grass. Whereas when they had it the farmland, once they took off the corn or the soybeans, it was like flat and there was nothing there. And that's why the water would flow a lot. But now they got their grass there and they're taking, I just really don't think their problem is as bad as it was like 2 years ago. I mean, of course, Dee's looking at me. But I think if they would take care of their problem, as again, I don't think it's fair because I did take care of my problem. So, and I know you're going to say it's still draining downhill. So, okay, that's it. Thank you.
I do think it's important to add that this photo that the map is based on is the 2015 Delaware County aerial photo. The assessments are based on the 2017 photo, the most current photo that we have. The problem is that photo is a leaf-on photo, shows the trees. It's awful hard to see things on that photo, so that's why we utilize the 2015 photo for our map. So, but the assessments are based on the current land use.
Questions for Brett? The digging a ditch or expanding the ditch, I'm not sure if there really is one on the north side of the road, would that really accomplish anything?
Commissioner Bennett, I'm not even sure that constructing a ditch or improving the road ditch to take the water from the Fancher Road watershed west to you can see the next channel over there to the west. Scott, if you could, right there. I'm not even sure that that's possible from an engineering standpoint. It's certainly not something that we evaluated because it would be taking water from one watershed and putting it into another.
What about those 3 pipes?
I have not looked at the engineering design of the 3 pipes, but I'm going to assume based on past history and the good work of the county engineer's office, those pipes are designed to the current engineering standards and storm frequency events that they design all of their culverts to. So those pipes would be based on the engineering calculations and the standards that they apply.
I guess I don't see, I'm not sure I understand how they could possibly be the problem. I mean, it just helps water flow through there, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah, Brett.
Maybe Brett, the other Brett.
While we're at our AV intermission again, Brett Berger for Delaware County Engineer's Office. The culverts that go in today, we have a lot better technology, just like the technology that we're talking to today.
Introduce yourself, by the way.
I'm sorry, Brett Berger for County Engineer's Office. Watershed mapping today, the data that we have is significantly greater than what we had back in the 60s or 30s or 20s or whenever that road went in. And so that's why a lot of times when we, as part of our culvert replacement, we actually utilize the watershed mapping, much like what we're talking about today, to actually calculate how much water is within that watershed. And so many times culverts the size of the culverts, the number of culverts is changed from what it was previously when the road went in or when the last time it was maintained. Why? Because we have the obligation to pass the water underneath our roadways, pass it through our properties, much like the comments that are being made today. I've heard comments about property owners need to take care of their own problems, those kind of things. Yes, we have county road right-of-way, or the township has road right-of-way, and it's our obligation to pass that water underneath our road. If we would go in there today and just completely remove that road, the water would still flow that way. It would stay within that watershed, and that is what we're here today. We are part of the watershed. Our roadway, or the township roadway, contributes to that. However, the culvert issues, whether we have one or we have three, the same amount of water is coming that way, possibly at a different rate. But if the roadway ditches were improved or maintained or enlarged, or however we would do it, whatever's suggested is not going to solve the drainage problem today. We would just be, our water would flow out of the roadways, much like it is doing today.
You just move the problem somewhere else.
It's the same amount of water. We're not enlarging the watershed. We're not adding to, and that's what my original comment was. By taking water from one watershed to another, we would just be pushing that water into to the west watershed. And that's not what we're proposing to do today. So I hope the culvert issue, going from 2 culverts to 3 culverts is not a contributory factor to the watershed, because we're not adding water to the watershed.
I think we better keep going here.
It's the same amount of water.
Thank you. Were there any other? Well, come up here if you're going to ask.
He just mentioned the fact that you asked him about the ditch, and he said they hadn't, considered that. I mean, why couldn't they go try cleaning out the ditch and see if that doesn't take care of the problem? That's just my comment.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of what I guess I was trying to ask is, if the ditch were cleared out, would that really change anything?
Once again, that would be breaking watershed.
Yeah, you can't.
And we are not permitted to do that under the Ohio drainage laws. So it's just not even a point that we can consider and propose as a solution. We are bound to keep that water within the watershed line.
Come up here.
I think you should take me.
We're all talking about how it drains. I have a video of actually it draining on a mild rain. I don't have any way to hook it up, but it's on my phone. And it's literally flowing like a creek and stops. I could build a pond in my backyard. It is not going to help, because my leach bed doesn't even drain because the water stops there. I mean, if you guys want to see it, I can bring it up.
Thank you.
And if it stops, just tap it. And it'll go from where it starts, it'll go from where it ends to where it starts.
So again, Brett Berger, County Engineers, is it accurate to state that the water is coming on your property, it's not leaving the property?
It stays on our back.
It stays in your backyard.
And it goes nowhere.
So the water drains onto your property, it just doesn't leave your
It doesn't
property?
leave my property. We're
And-
fine. It actually lays where the dotted line is. We don't have a clicker.
And
The water literally stays right there. It goes nowhere. So, like I said, our leach bed doesn't even drain. Building a ditch or a pond back here would do nothing for us. I mean, we could put thousands back there and it's still not phased because there's nowhere for our,
I think the theory would be the water drains through there so it doesn't build up in your backyard or wherever. I think that'd be the theory.
and lot 16, the lady that lived, the grandchild that lives there now, when she was a child, she played in a ditch back here. There was a creek back here, a little where the water flowed. There is no flow back there now. So it literally stops here.
Thank you.
And that's the point that maybe I missed in trying to make, is that this is an outlet issue. It's not us going in and taking care of our road ditches, because whether or not we add more water, we don't add more water, the fact is the water getting to the point is exactly what you've stated. It's just not getting away. And that's why many times residents petition the county for drainage improvements, is because of an outlet issue. If there's a downstream obstruction, if there's deterioration of the system because of materials such as clay tiles, brush, land grading, any of those factors that cause that water to become stagnant or to not dissipate the properties, this is the outlet that we have, is to petition the county for a drainage outlet. With that said, I mean, those three components are design components for what we've talked about today. Clearing of brush, grading and shaping of the ground, as well as the installation of a tile. And that will allow your condition that you described, much like we've seen photos and everything that was presented today, to provide an adequate outlet for the drainage in the watershed.
Ed, looked like you had something to say? Okay. Okay, any other questions?
No.
Is there anyone else who wants to speak in opposition to the petition?
Jim Stewart.
Sorry?
Jim Stewart,
Jim Stewart?
12150 Fancher Road.
And is that, okay, I didn't want to be presumptuous, but I was going to, so I decided how to get out of that, so thank you. So I assume you have the same number. Okay, let me swear you in, I apologize. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you need to raise your right hand, sir.
All right.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Do.
Proceed.
Okay, water runs downhill. It gets to, I'll have to go over and look at the number.
Jackie's number was 4, so I assume yours was 4?
I think it's number 12. Browns.
oh, 14.
14. Okay. Browns used to be mowed, water flowed across it. It's grown up now, the engineers got to it, walked around the other side, and I didn't go with them then. But if this lot was cleared, the storm drainage would go downstream. I agree with Gene, it should be done with property owners instead of, I wish the county would go away, I can fix my driveway for a couple $100 instead of $8,000. And if that lot was cleared, stormwater would flow, our yards wouldn't be standing water. But now we've turned it into a huge project, almost $90,000, and people would have no benefit from it or asked to pay. I don't think it's right. I definitely can't afford it. So I wish the county would go away, leave us alone, let us fix it.
Understand, we're following the state law as a county, as we're directed to do, so it's not a county issue. We're trying to do what we were, by statute required.
Yeah, I understand their laws.
Just want to explain that to you.
Yeah, but if,
Eric, I think, wants to
Yeah,
comment.
our prosecutor will explain.
Eric Hostetler, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney. I wear two hats at these hearings. I represent the board to advise you on how to conduct the hearing, but I also represent the county. And the county has right-of-way in this watershed. And I want to just make clear, I think the commissioners know this, but I want for the benefit of everybody here, that the county did not initiate this process. So once the petition is filed, the commissioners are required to go through this process. So,
I understand that.
and also, the Lot 14, I've heard a lot of references to Lot 14. If there's work that needs to be done on Lot 14 and the owner of Lot 14 does not wish to perform that work, this process is the only way by which the county can actually enter onto that property to clear that property out. Private property owners always have the ability to take any private civil action against one of their neighbors if that's what's causing the water backup. But obviously the county would not be a party to that. So I just wanted to clarify that for the record. And I don't think there's anything else that I need to address right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
Do you agree with what I'm saying, that that is the problem, or the biggest part of the problem, is that,
Direct your questions to
Yeah,
us.
yeah, yeah.
that lot that's grown up?
The watershed as a whole has a uniform lack of surface grading throughout the entire watershed. Yes, there is significant overgrowth on parcel 14 and parcel 16 that has more than likely over the years contributed to the sedimentation and the I guess the good positive grade going away through that water course. But overall, our survey would support that there is generally a lack of good surface grade, good uniform surface grade throughout the entire watershed course.
And subsurface tiling.
Well, the subsurface tile, I mean, it's old, it's kind of been repaired in a mishmash of ways throughout from top to bottom. Certainly through the woods, it's not in good shape. It has blowouts. It's got tree roots in it. So it's just generally, it's still providing some degree of drainage benefit, but certainly not to what it was designed, the capacity that it was designed to handle.
You have anything else you want to add?
No, I don't think so. I just can't afford it. I don't see where I don't see a $90,000 benefit.
Thank you.
Please. I'm sorry? No, it wasn't you.
No,
The
he
gentleman
was behind you.
Stood up. Yep.
I'm Mariano Ruiz, and we live at 12175 Fancher, which is Lot 21. We also own Lot 22, which is just north of it. We're new neighbors, along with lots number 1 and number 10.
So you just moved into the area? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I will.
Proceed. Now, did I understand you say you just moved into the area?
Yes.
Okay.
We built a new home, and we've been there since February. And I'm the one who has the 3 pipes that flow into the south. And before we even purchased the lot, back in November of 2016, I called the county engineer's office, and I asked about those pipes. The problem with the pipes, half of the pipes are full of sediment. So it would take a major, major rainfall for water to flow into the steward's property. 3 weeks ago, on Monday, we had 1.5 inches of rain, and very little water flowed over there, because now all 3 lots on the north end, well, actually 4 lots, have been seeded, or they have grass. In addition, Mr. Ying's property, which is number 1 in the middle, he has 2 large ponds, so they collect water. So there's much less water going in there, and I watched our lot when it rained before we built and before we planted grass and before the other two lots were also developed, there was a lot more water going through those pipes than there is now. In addition to that is, from our standpoint, there are 24 numbers or 24 lots involved in this process. 6 of them are on the north side, or 7 of them, and those 7 lots are providing 40% of the cost of this project. We need to get proof that the water from the north side is actually the cost. From what we've heard this morning, we don't think all the problem is being caused by the lots on the north side of the road. Besides, I look at, every day that it rains, I look at water going to the Stewarts, and there's much less water going down to his side than it used to before we had a house there, when it was a field. So we also have to say that the dollar amount that we're having to pay for this project is exorbitant. I'm having to pay over $12,000 for this project when there's no benefit to us. And yet we have the lowest lot there. But I can tell you that our ditch gets filled up with water before it starts even flowing into the south side. So most of the water now is being retained on our side of the property anyway. And now that we have grass there, we just seeded that lot and had it landscaped, and we're spending a lot of money for that, a lot more than what we even have to pay now. But if we have to pay another $12,000 on top of that, you know, we should have been told before we bought this property, when I called the county and asked them what they were planning on doing there, that there was already a project in 2016, because I didn't buy this lot until the end of 2016, and nobody ever told us anything. They said there had been a petition, but nothing had been done. So I think the county has a responsibility to at least inform lot owners, especially the new ones on the north end, of the potential of such a project if it was already on the record. And that's all I have to say. I think that there's no benefit to us, and yet we're having to pay a large amount. The 3 big lots there are paying probably at 1/3 of the entire cost of the project, and we don't think that's fair. We think the solution really should be take care of lot number 14 and then get the water to flow down south, and that probably will take care of 80% of the problem.
Okay. Anything else? Thank
That's
you.
it.
Any comments? I keep hearing about 14 as a problem. Obviously, if you thought that was a problem, you wouldn't be making the recommendation you're making, I'm assuming, but would you want to comment on that statement?
Scott Stevens again, Delaware Soil and Water Conservation District. The entire length of the channel from parcel 14, even onto the back end of 16, it's at some level, it's an overgrown, brushy sediment, leaves, log, just woody vegetation debris has clogged that channel over a period of years. It's that simple. Then the old clay tile, it's old. It's something that would have been more than likely hand dug in when it was all one farm. It's remnant agricultural drainage. It has exceeded its life expectancy as well.
But the inference that I'm hearing is that is the sole cause of the problem. Your comment to that?
I would be cautious in making I wouldn't say that if you just go in and make repairs on parcel 14, the problem goes away. Would the problem be reduced? Sure. But do you still have a drainage problem in the upper part of the watershed? Absolutely. It'd be an incremental solution. If that
would not solve it.
No. It may help. Certainly it may help. But would the drainage become satisfactory? Would there not be a drainage there? Would it provide the same degree of drainage as what we've planned? Absolutely not. You're talking a small snip of a much larger problem. You want to go? Right.
I think it's also important to point out that, the landowners would always have the option, if they could get the cooperation of parcels 14 and 16, of undertaking some cooperative group project on their own outside of the realm of the 6131 process. And they may very well get some degree of benefit at a less expensive price than what this project is proposing. But as part of the 6131 project, we're obligated to design to the engineering standards. And when we look at, basically obligating the county, the commissioners, the engineer's office, and the Soil and Water District to maintain this project in perpetuity, we can't do something that doesn't meet the engineering standards, so.
We're going to sit here all day as people. Any new people?
But first of all, that's a good point. Is anyone else who has not spoken in opposition that wishes to speak before we allow the ones who have spoken? And we do have one. So allow the lady who hasn't spoken yet speak first.
Hi, I'm Diane Cox. I live at 12348 Fancher Road.
And Diane?
Yes.
And do you know your lot number?
I think I'm like 13. I'm way up there on the,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I think it's 13, is it? What?
The last little bit.
There? Tiny one.
Yeah, it's 13. That's the very last one.
Right there.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. You want to raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Proceed.
I guess my thing really is more of a comment. They keep saying they can't force water on to another watershed. If that ditch was opened back up to where it used to be, you're not forcing water onto a watershed. That's the way the natural flow was before. You're saying now if you dig this ditch, you're going to force it onto another watershed. That ditch was already there and already deep.
For the sake of clarity, can you show us which ditch that, I guess that was something we were trying to.
Well,
would it be parallel, you're talking the road ditches, it would be parallel to Fancher Road.
The north side.
North and, there's a road ditch on the north and south side. Now, it may be more obvious on the north side.
At 9. It's right at 9, where the ditch stops. That's where the tree used to be.
At 9, nine's the high, the ridge, the high point in the watershed. The road ditches to the right within the yellow watershed boundary, from that point would flow this way to this point. The road ditches from this point would go that way. So there should be a break. There is no ditch. There should be no ditch exactly at, or there would be no ditch at 9. The same would hold true at parcel 13. The road ditches on to the left of the line as we're looking at it on parcel 13 would all drain to this point. The road ditches that would be beyond to the right of the yellow line would grade or flow to the east. So I just want to be clear that opening the road ditches up, if there is an obstruction there, no ditch enclosure or just lack of grade, those ditches would be constructed as such to bring the water to the culverts at parcel 4, at the low point in the watershed. That is the lowest point in all these surrounding lands. You'll find no land in here lower than those culverts. There may be little pockets out there that are holding water, but in a general broader sense, that is the low point in the watershed. Over here, the creek would be the low point in the watershed. I'm not sure the drainage, I can't see. You can see this other drainage line here. I'm sure it goes up through these lands over in here. Off the map would all drain into this drainage. This is your own little separate, whatever it was, 45, 50 acre drainage area, 38 acre drainage area that all the way for water in any of these lands here to leave, find them way to a larger drainage, a creek or a stream, is to follow that path down to the county line. Hopefully, just to provide some.
Well, that helped me understand, and I hope it helped you as well.
Well, it did, but they're saying but what you were saying was that by opening that ditch up, you're forcing it onto another watershed, that you can't do that. Well, you could open the ditch up to where it was before. You're saying you can't make a ditch, but you can. You can go back to where it was.
Sure. What we can't do is take these road ditches and take all this road ditch here, all this essentially and effectively taking all this watershed and drain it to here. That would be truly breaking watershed.
I'm just saying go back to where it used
Sure.
to be, the way the ditch used to be, as deep as it used to be. is all I'm saying.
Again, I'm a layman, but I'm a country boy from Oklahoma. But the water in that ditch ultimately is going to flow to that low point there, and it's just going to, it's going to sit there, or it's going to flow through there. And what he's trying to say is, we can't legally put water in another watershed, because you wouldn't want people putting water in your watershed, making your issues bigger than they already are.
Right.
And partly being a good neighbor, partly because of statute, it can't be done. And that's the point I believe you're trying to make, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now, if somebody wants, but let's try not to be redundant, if we've already been stated, but if you got some new comment, please come forward. Otherwise, we could be here all day, and we may be anyway.
I want to know about the sub-tile or the subsurface tile. We didn't mention that, and I did have that in my notes. I think it was Scott that I talked to one time, and he said that they were going to change that.
Were or were not?
They were.
Okay.
And I bet that when they built their house, I know he's put his own drain in, but I bet you that Delaware County did not inspect like they were supposed to do to make sure that that subsurface drain was on his property, on the property next to him, and the property next to him. I don't think they're doing that yet, are they?
I'm not go ahead.
Are you talking subsurface, just general subsurface drainage that he might have installed for his own benefit, or or the tile that would be associated with his on-site sewage treatment system? That would be something that would be inspected by the health department. I would have no knowledge of what was done or what they might have inspected.
I think the bigger, is this, so there's an existing clay tile, more or less follows that blue line, that surface flow. The tile almost always follow the surface drainage pattern. These landowners over here, whether it was a farm or the current residential development, would be absolutely privileged to use or able to use that subsurface drain as their subsurface drainage outlet, regardless of what condition it may be in downstream. If this was a farm and they decided to systematically tile the farm, a farmer could have gone in there and put a 4-inch tile every 40 feet, standard agricultural practice, and tied into that existing drainage system with no obligation, just in and of that individual project, to do anything or to check the condition of that downstream drain. Same way as a residential property. If these folks want to, lay drainage tile in their front yard to dry that up, or the outlet for their sump pump, or their curtain drain, that collector tile around their sewage treatment system, assuming it's a soil-based system, are certainly able to do that. So I don't think anybody over here, to my knowledge, has done anything remiss by making use of the existing drainage, even in its current deteriorated condition. That's common practice, very common. Most folks, as you develop your lot or you develop the drainage on your farm, are tying into drainage that is not a modern system that would be part of the petition process or otherwise. Yeah, so.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, and I understand what he's saying, but all of that subsurface tile in our yard, my husband has replaced a couple of times, a couple of tiles. It just breaks almost immediately. I don't know whether it's the force of the water going through or what.
Now, is the tile going to be part of the project? Is the subsurface tile part of the project?
Absolutely.
So what he's saying is that would be repaired.
Modern plastic, polyethylene plastic tubing, sealed joints so it wouldn't root clog, so forth. And the old clay that's out there, it's falling apart. It's clay. It's baked clay. It's a flower pot essentially, laid end to end, no ends. That's tile of the day. Prior to 1972 or so, that was best available. That's what we had.
So what you're saying,
Well, ask the questions to us.
if a new house goes in, after this, say this passes and a new house goes in, are they going to inspect, make sure that that drain is fixed, the subsurface?
Well, I think I heard the health department's responsibility, but again, as a layman, everybody's water upstream that flows downstream, ultimately it's going to end up wherever the final source is. So I'm not sure that changes anything. It's still somebody else's water affecting somebody downstream. And is that fairly accurate?
More than fairly.
Okay. Yes.
If the project goes through, if the commissioners approve the project and we would proceed with construction, the project would completely replace the existing subsurface drain. We would install new subsurface drain that would be appropriately sized as if every acre in the watershed is using that, tied into that drain. And then the old tile would be completely removed, and anything that is connected into that old tile would be connected into the new tile as part of the project. Moving beyond construction, if we would get to that point, anybody that would want to connect to the newly installed tile that would be on drainage maintenance, we would make sure that we would inspect their connection to that new tile to make sure that it's done in a way that satisfies our requirements. If there's somebody upstream in the watershed that's connecting to tile that is not on maintenance, that wouldn't be installed as part of the project, we would have no authority, or there would be nothing that would give us the ability or the authority to inspect that. That's basically private drainage, privately installed, and landowners are free to do that as they wish.
Okay, one last question.
Okay.
Certified letters were supposed to be mailed
Sorry
out.
again, there's noise outside and I didn't understand you.
Yeah.
Not your
Okay.
fault, not your fault, I just couldn't understand you.
Okay, certified letters were supposed to be mailed out to all 20. Well, we didn't get one. I learned from my neighbor that she had got one, and I think there were several others. I had to call, and they sent me a copy. But these certified letters are added into the cost of all this, aren't they?
Okay, so you're suggesting you did not get a certified letter for this hearing?
I'm not getting certified letters of any kind.
I think Eric is going to speak to that.
Yeah, the law requires that certified letters go out to all owners within the watershed. The record would have any returns if they were indicated as unclaimed or undeliverable. But as a matter of law, you're also required to do an initial publication, and that initial publication of the hearing is the actual legal requirement. So as long as that publication is made initially, whether the certified letters are delivered or not, the legally
But there's no
required
intent not
notice-
to deliver them, for whatever reason, they
Correct.
don't get delivered, but.
And the board in the record for this hearing would have all of those mailing confirmations and then any return receipts that came back, whether they be confirmed delivery or undeliverable, unclaimed, what have you.
This is a first, but Jennifer, could you come up here?
She's checking, Scott.
Okay.
What's your address?
12150.
Jennifer, why don't you go to the mic and up here, and I'm going to swear you in since,
Board Clerk Jennifer Walraven.
raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Would you explain, the process of how these letters go out, and then did we send a letter?
We send letters to everyone in the mailing list that Soil and Water gives us we keep copies of the certified sticker that we put on the letter, and we run an ad in the paper notifying of when the hearing
Can you
is.
show that a letter went to this address?
I can show that we mailed one.
What do you mean?
I can give somebody the receipt, whether or not we get that back. We can't force people to go to the post office. to be
And then
completely
on top of
honest
that,
with
it is
you.
published. in the-
Yes.
Thank you.
I think that's all.
Okay, thank you. The lady here has not spoken to my knowledge. Are you speaking in favor or in opposition?
Well, I'm just speaking about the post.
Then come up here.
There was no,
Let me swear you in. You just have a question?
yes.
I'm not going to bother with
Yes.
the location, but give your name and your address.
I am Janine Brown's daughter, 12046 Fancher Road. About the,
Do you
I
solemnly
just wanted to make a comment.
Well, if you're going to come up here, I'm going to go swear you in just
Yeah,
a minute,
okay.
okay? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, ask your question.
I'm here on my mother's behalf. She's unable to make it. She's at the hospital right now. But anyway, there was no letters, certified letters sent out that she received. No copy, no nothing.
Eric, the fact that they got it was published in a newspaper is sufficient, correct?
That's what the law requires. And every return receipt is required by statute to be a part of the commissioner's record. So if there's any question about that, you can always recess and review it.
So, okay. Ma'am.
I'm Denise Ruiz, and I
Say again, I'm sorry.
I'm Denise Ruiz, and I live at 12175 Fancher Road.
What number?
21 and 22.
22, 21, 22.
Excuse me.
Let me swear you in. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You got a voice problem, or?
Allergies.
Okay.
We moved there in February, and we did not get any notice about the first hearing. So a couple weeks ago, we got our first notice about this. But my issue here is that our land, especially behind our house, we live on 21, but the land, like we built our house kind of in the middle of 21. All of our land on the behind our house is all wet. I mean, you can't play out there. The children, our grandchildren, can't be in that land. Now, we're paying $13,000 for other people to fix their land, but what about ours?
Well,
We're going to have to pay somebody.
It may be when that house was built, the way it was graded may have an impact on the fact you don't get any flow. Maybe, I don't know, I haven't seen your property.
Well-
But if one of the two of them wish to comment on it.
As far as whether we can design improvements to a parcel, we are bound by the parcels that signed the petition as far as our upstream extent of a project. The previous owner of that property did not sign the petition. I would be happy to meet with the Ruizes and advise them on how they might be able to make drainage improvements on their own property. I think with the depth of the culvert, that they may be able to make some improvements on their own property outside of the scope of this project.
My point is, we're paying $13,000, and we have a problem too. So, I mean, he's saying we still have to pay for our own improvement when we're paying for other people's. Also, this study was done before we built our home. And so I think, and before Ying, our next door neighbor, built his two, they're not even in, their house is not finished, but they did build 2 ponds. This study was done before all of this. I think a study needs to be made now that we have done things to that land, that I don't believe the water's running off that way anymore. I think our side of the road has taken care of our own, and also when inspector was on our property telling us, giving us information, checking our culvert for our driveway, he said our back lot and our backyard ran to that pond, to the creek, which isn't even in the watershed according to their picture. But that's what we were told, is our standing water will eventually get over to that creek. But that's not what's shown up here. So I think that the study needs to be redone, because obviously we're hearing two different things.
Anything you want to add?
Sarah, if you could relog us on there. There is a portion of the Ruiz property, their back parcel, that does break the other way, and the watershed line would reflect that when we can see it. As far as
Included in the...
and they are not being assessed on that acreage. As far as the design of the project would take into account the fact that those lots are developed. So I don't see any need to revisit our design or our survey. I believe our design accounts for those parcels, those parcels being residential in nature.
Thank you. Is there any more testimony? Okay.
Do I need to be sworn in again?
No, you're good for the day.
So based on everything that has been mentioned here, and by the way, let me expand a little bit on the comment that my wife made and the engineer made. Part of the issue with our back lot, which is 22, is as a result of our next door neighbor building the rear pond, by him building it flat, it actually created a change in the topography. His lot is higher now than ours, and so water runs into our backyard and is sitting there. And we recognize, based on what we just heard, this is going to have to be our own personal problem, because it's not something that the county would be required to work on. And we've addressed that with our neighbor and all, and that is fine. However, I still say, if there was a ditch, and all these residents who have lived there many, many more years than you guys have been working, said there was a ditch on the north end, was the county violating the law because there was a ditch that went into a different watershed stream? I mean, how can we prove that is against the law? Where does the law say that you cannot have a ditch there if there was one? I mean, are you going to contradict their word because it's against the law? I mean, I want to challenge that, because I live on the north end. I'm the one who gets all the water before it goes across the street. We're the ones who get all the water. And it will take a big storm now to get water across to the Stewarts. I said that a while ago, 3 weeks ago, there was 1.5 inches of rain, and very little water went to them because we're now containing all the water on our end. Between those three lots, we've done things to contain the water. Okay? So we don't think we ought to be the ones paying for the further downstream issue. I think the residents on the very south end are the ones going to have to deal with their own issue, not us.
Thank you. In closing, I think we've heard everything at this point. I think it's getting to be redundant. I even get some nods from you, so you agree. I appreciate that. Is there any, I do have a question I always ask at the conclusion. I think it's an appropriate question before the commissioners ask questions. The question that I always ask, I think it's an appropriate question, have you heard anything today that would change your assessment of what we should be doing?
No.
Okay.
No, I think the engineering plans as proposed would, as I've stated, would serve as an adequate drainage outlet for the watershed as a whole. Whether, as we state in the report, whether the benefits exceed the costs or whether the commissioners determine that the benefits exceed the cost, we would advise you to base that largely on the testimony of the landowners.
And one last question. I think there's oftentimes a misunderstanding about the cost and how those are factored. If somebody has a $1,000 assessment here, how much is that going to affect them on a yearly basis?
The construction assessments would be finalized after the construction of the project, and by law, we cannot accept a bid that would be in excess of the engineer's estimate. So we'll assume that, $1,000, we've got an estimate or a bid that would be right at our estimate. The costs are exactly what we estimate for the final hearing. That $1,000 would be spread out over 16 payments. I'm not At this point in the morning, I don't think I can do that math in my head accurately, but it would be 16 semi-annual installments.
So 8 years divided by 1,000, and that.
Correct.
Just a second. Scott, you apparently was.
I just would reiterate something that Brett stated, that in the engineer's report, we put that last statement, that the cost benefit and how the impact or the value of that drainage to the landowners, collectively, individually, but, I think that's kind of both. We're hearing from many of the landowners, if the cost benefit just isn't there for them, we certainly can appreciate that and understand the financial impact, but I think everybody understands that the drainage is substandard. It's not getting the job done.
One last comment, then I'm going to open it up for questions from my fellow commissioners. Okay. So go ahead.
Jim Stewart. If we don't, well, I can't pay, in one big lump.
Well, it's not one big lump.
But they say there's interest if you don't pay that way. What is the interest?
Does anybody know the interest rate?
We determine the interest when the bonding happens. So it's the same cost that the commissioners are charged for bonding of the money.
So probably in the 3 to 4 range, 3 to 4% range, something like that. Don't take that to the bank, fairly speaking, but it's not it's somewhere in that range, based on current. Okay. I said one more, but go ahead.
I want to show you guys something.
Come up here.
When we talk about the big tree on the side of the road, this is the big tree. I'm sorry.
She's trying to hit us.
I wanted you to see it up close.
That tree was lost.
That tree, they just took that tree down 3 years ago.
You want your phone back? Okay.
That's what was 1.5 feet from the road.
Okay.
So it brought it up higher as we lived there 5 years before they actually took the tree down. And it started moving towards the road at that time, which even closed it up more. So there's no drainage on that side of the road when it rains because there's now a driveway there.
Eric?
I just want to make sure that the video and the photo that she's shown can be sent to you so that it can be on record.
Right.
Okay.
Good point. It needs to be part of the record. So you send that to, if you give it Jennifer Walraven after the meeting, and we'll work that out. Or Sarah Deneau, one of them. Okay, thank you. Jeff Benton or Barb Lewis, you have a question or comments?
Well, I guess some clarification then, statement's been made, the people on the north side of the road, how are they benefiting, though, if they have to pay?
They're benefited based on what the Ohio Revised Code states as how we shall consider benefits or determine benefits. The water from those properties exits their property and would enter this water course or the proposed improvement. Therefore, the Revised Code says we shall consider them as benefited and they would share in the cost of the project.
So then if they, okay, so you're saying that they do contribute to
That's correct.
the flow
Yes.
of the water? Okay.
Commissioner, you have anything to add?
Yeah, go ahead, I'll think of something in a minute.
This is a tough one. Is there any way, I know Eric talked about civil action to get the downstream lots, 14 and 16 in particular, to improve. I guess, is there a way to do a smaller version of this, with just concentrating on those areas?
No, the solution that we've proposed would be the best least cost alternative that would meet the current engineering standards. Something lesser than that, we would not put that in front of the commissioners because we're obligating ourselves and the county to take care of that in perpetuity, forever basically. So anything lesser in scope would need to be undertaken by the landowners kind of as that cooperative privately run, privately financed group.
I do have a question on the payments again. Let's say the project moves forward, people have to pay the assessments. So how are people billed, and then is it over time? And then you mentioned the interest payments. Could you just?
Correct. The assessments are placed on their property tax bills as a special assessment.
Okay, and then when are they due?
They would be due whenever property taxes are due. I believe the county property taxes are due in January and July of each year.
So then the whole, let's say the bill comes, they're assessed, they find this charge in January. Is it the whole charge?
No,
that's levied?
it would be the, let's say,
Sorry.
let's say a property has an $8,000 final assessment. Their annual charge would be $1,000 plus the amount of interest that would be added on if they chose not to pay up front. And then, so that $1,000 then would be divided into 2 semi-annual payments of $500.
Okay, and if they keep up on that and they make those 2 payments, is there any interest charge?
Yes, the interest charge would be, and I'll defer to Mr. Keel and Jennifer. Yeah, well, he's much better.
Yeah.
Cy Kelly, Deputy Administrator. Basically, what we do is the bond issuing cost plus interest, plus the auditor treasurer's fee for collection will be added on to the final cost, and then divided by 16.
Payments every 6 months, that's how you arrive at 16. The example I gave of 1,000, that'd be $125 a year. 8,000 is a good one to use because it's easy to do the math.
Yeah, yeah.
Well done. Anything else you want to ask us, Cy? Anybody? Or thanks for the clarification.
Thank you, Cy.
Any other comments or questions? You know, I'll take a shot at this. These things are always very, very difficult. We have to do what we think is appropriate by state statute. It's hard to understand when you're upstream and your water's flowing downstream that does have an impact on someone else. But the water is your water to the degree that, accepting the numbers we've heard today. And our responsibility, very clearly stated here, and I'm going to reread it, I think it's appropriate. The board considers the following in their decision: whether the board hereby finds that the proposed improvement is necessary, that it will be conducive to the public welfare, and that it is reasonably certain that the cost of the proposed improvement will be less than the benefit. It's hard for me, I think, as Commissioner Benton said, this is a little tougher. Most of them are pretty straightforward, but I also find that most people, after we go through this process and the improvements are made, are pleased. I have never had anyone come back and said that turned out to be everybody's trying to do what's the best thing and trying to follow the statutes. And this one is a little tougher, but I do believe the case has been made based on what I've heard, and I haven't heard anything to dissuade me. I believe that we should approve the petition. I have no clue how the other 2 commissioners view this. They may both disagree with me. So I would ask that the motion to approve the petition be read. My apology, we have not closed the hearing yet. Good, thank you very much. So first thing we're going to do is close the hearing. Is there anything else anybody else wants to say before that?
Yeah, I'm really wrestling with this one.
Well, we're not going to be able to make a decision. We close the hearing regardless.
I know, but
if we want to get any more input, we need to do it now.
no, I think I've got all the input.
Yeah, I'll move to close the hearing.
Resolution number 18-664, in the matter of closing the public hearing to address the Fancher Road Watershed Drainage Improvement Petition Project.
You moved it, I will second it.
Okay. The motion to close the hearing has been made. Vote.
Vote on motion 18-664. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye. With that, I would direct you to read the motion to approve the petition.
Resolution number 18-665, in the matter of finding in favor of the improvement and affirming the order for the Fancher Road Watershed Drainage Improvement Petition Project.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. Discussion. I think I've already shared my perspective. I don't think anyone wants to add anything.
Yeah, I think Commissioner Merrill, in summary really zeroed in on the issue. Is the proposed improvement necessary? I think it really is. I mean, we saw that when we were out there. We've heard testimony. I think everybody agrees something needs to be done. Will be conducive to the public welfare. I think that is true as well. But again, the tough one is, does the proposed improvement cost less than the benefit? You know, I mean, I guess it does. You know, it's a tough call because it costs a lot of people money that, you know, they won't see any direct on-site benefit of the funding, but it is something that needs to be done, and it'll be done right with the engineer and soil water managing it, and it'll be maintained in perpetuity, and like Commissioner Merrill said, it does end up improving the area and solving a big problem, so.
It also improves the value of the homes too, and the sale of the homes a lot. We've seen that in other cases, so.
With that, vote?
Vote on motion 18-665. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Okay, the next one too. Resolution number 18-666, in the matter of commissioners confirming the assessments, approving the payment schedule, and ordering the letting of the contracts for the Fancher Road Watershed Drainage Improvement Project.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion, vote?
Vote on motion 18-666. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We do have need for executive sessions.
We do. Resolution number 18-667, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of employment, discipline of a public employee of a public official for pending or imminent litigation.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion, vote?
Vote on motion 18-667. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming in.
Resolution number 18-668, in the matter of adjourning out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion, vote?
Vote on motion 18-668, sorry. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
I about fell out of my chair.
You know, I thought something we said.
I know, I sat down and about fell out of it. Grace.
Are we off the?
No, we're not.
You
I haven't, my apology,
Yeah.
I apologize to everyone that
Yeah.
might be hearing this.
Yeah.
Sarah apparently almost out of her chair, got us all distracted. If there's no other business to bring before us, we are adjourned.
That's so funny.
Well, I thought it was something we